Hi my darlings, I'm Sophie Darling and welcome to my react to Series 1, Episode 13. I keep getting the episodes wrong because I'm watching them in succession and I keep losing track of what episode I'm on because it's very addictive. I'm very sorry. We are not going to spend much time yapping because episode 13, everything's starting to ramp up. Again, we left on like another cliffhanger, so I kind of just want to jump straight in. So yeah, we ain't gonna yap. We're not yapping, we're just jumping straight into episode 13.
これよりトロストク奪還作戦について説明する。まず彼から紹介しよう。訓練兵所属エレン・イエーガーじゃ。彼は我々が極秘に研究してきた巨人化生態実験の成功者である。諸君らの任務は彼が岩を運ぶまでの間、彼を他の巨人から守ることである。この作戦が成功した時、人類は初めて巨人から領土を奪い返すことに成功する。それはこれまで人類が奪われてきたものに比べれば例えようもなく小さなものかもしれん。しかしその一歩は我々人類にとっての大きな進撃になる。
私がわからないの。私はミカサ、あなたの家族。
よけろ、アッカーマン。
なんだあいつ、頭の悪い普通の巨人じゃないか。
作戦を変える。イエーガーを回収するまで彼を巨人から守る。彼は人類にとって貴重な可能性だ。簡単に放棄できるものではない。
He's about to go on a rampage.
ここうちか。
じゃあなんで立体起動装置を使わねえんだ。まさか故障してんのか。なんとかするさ。
ミカサ、作戦はどうなった。失敗した。エレンも置いていけないからみんな戦ってる。だけどこのままじゃ巨人が多くて全滅してしまう。
後頭部からうなじにかけて縦1メートル横10センチ。エレン、答えてくれ。壁から一歩外に出ればそこは地獄の世界なのに、どうしてエレンは外の世界に行きたいと思ったの。
どうしてだって。俺が
The music
生まれたからだ。
in this show, oh my god, it's phenomenal. It gets better and better with every episode. It's the one thing I really love about this show. It's just the music. I love the character development, but I love the music as well. I think the music is absolutely phenomenal. Fuck. He's gonna go and try and steal that, isn't it? To replace his malfunctioned one.
なんのかよ。
班長、ここまでです。もう私たちしか残ってない。
Oh shit.
一旦岩まで引く。
巨人5体扉から来ます。
Wait, it's leaving.
巨人がいなくなるまで待つことなんてできるわけがねえ。
じゃあやっぱり起動装置が。どうした。
Oh, Marco, don't.
なんだよ。
Marco's gonna sacrifice himself, isn't he?
じゃあ落ち着け。
Marco.
何やってんだ。
Connie!
遠藤かけんなよ。
Annie!
どうしてトリガーがこんなに勝てんだ。
What's going on with his gear?
何やってんだ。どっちがだよ。早く飛べ。
He just proper beated him in the face. Holy shit. That was so close. Oh my god. Okay, it's working. It's working.
無茶しやがって。無茶はお前だろ。
Marco's
し
okay.
ねえよ。
あれを見て。
Oh shit. That sounds like a big boy. Wait, it's Eren! He's moving the boulder. Holy fuck, he's huge. He's steering it.
アルミ。
エレンが勝ったんだ。今自分の責任を果たそうとしている。あとはエレンを扉まで援護すれば僕らの勝ちだ。
死したよ。我々の命と引き換えにしてでもエレンを扉まで守れ。絶対に巨人を近づけるな。
邪魔をさせるな。エレンを援護するんだ。
Look at
お
Jean.
前たち二人はエレンの元へ向かえ。これは命令だ。分かったか。
I'm beginning to love Jean as well.
痛みは何を食いつかれるまで接近するしかない。こっち向けこら。抜かれとそのくせに傷に刃ぶち込んで殺すな。
Oh, they didn't like that. They understood.
痛いかかった。走れ。
そんな地上に降り立つなんて自殺行為だ。馬も建物もないんじゃ戦えない。
いやもうあれしかない。
Oh my god.
アルミ、私たちも。
さあこっちに来い。
体がぐちゃぐちゃに潰れそうだ。ミカサ、アルミ、何してる。そんなところを歩いてたら巨人の餌食に。こっちに来い。おい。お、見た目。
どうしてエレンは外の
It's
世界に行き
suicide.
たいと思ったの。
It's a suicide mission.
俺たちはみんな生まれた時から自由だ。それを拒む者がどれだけ強くても関係ない。炎の水でも氷の大地でも何でもいい。それを見た者はこの世界で一番の自由を手に入れたものだ。戦い、そのためなら命なんか惜しくない。どれだけ世界が恐ろしくても関係ない。どれだけ世界が残酷でも関係ない。戦え、戦え、戦え、戦え。
まだ巨人が。
She's so cool. He did it! He did it! Their sacrifice wasn't for nothing.
みんな死んだ甲斐があったな。人類が今日初めて巨人に勝ったよ。
What a
黄色
monumental
の円環
moment.
確認。作戦が成功したようです。
さらなる援軍を送れ。正反を救出せよ。
Titans are against the wall, like, I can't leave. how do I get out? Let me out.
残った巨人が来る。壁を登るぞ。
エレンを回収した後離脱します。アルミン、エレンは信じられないくらいそうですか。急いで壁を登らないと。
Oh my god, his
敵
face.
が仕掛けてる。
引っ張っても取れない。
切るしかない。
待ってください。
Oh shoot. It's Levi. No, not Mikasa.
自由の翼。おいガキどもこれはどういう状況だ。
その後
What the fuck?
急遽駆けつけた調査兵団と駐屯兵団工兵部の活躍によりボールローゼは再び巨人の侵入を阻んだ。その間壁上固定砲は火を吹き続けた。壁に群がった巨人のほとんどが榴弾によって死滅し、わずかに残った巨人も主に調査兵団によって掃討された。その際4メートル級1体と7メートル級1体の巨人の生け捕りに成功する。だが死者行方不明者207名、
Fuck, there's a lot of wounded.
897名。
I suspected more casualties though.
人類が初めて巨人の侵攻を阻止した快挙であったが、それに喚起するには失った人々の数があまりにも多すぎた。
By casualties, I mean like more dead. But I actually, like, yeah, 207's a lot, but compared to like 20% of the population when they lost the wars like 4-5 years ago, like, it's not that much. No, Marco didn't make it!
お前マルコか。
訓練兵、彼の名前がわかるのか。
見ねえと思ったら、でもこいつに限ってありえねえ。マルコ、何があった？誰か。
知ってたら早く答えろ。 わかるか、訓練兵。岩で穴を塞いでからもう2日経っている。それなのにまだ遺体の回収が済んでいない。
Oh, I thought
この
he'd
ままでは
made
伝染
it.
病が蔓延する恐れがある。わかった
Fuck.
か。
Oh, Marco didn't deserve that.
第104期訓練兵団所属19班班長マルコ・ボット。
Oh, Marco.
名前が分かってよかった。
Oh, he didn't deserve that.
何ですかこれは。
巨人が吐いた後だ。奴らには消化器官がねえから、人食って腹いっぱいになったらああやって吐いちまうんだと。
Ew.
これじゃあ誰が誰だか見分けつかねえぞ。
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
謝っても仕方ないぞ。早く弔ってやるんだ。
Marco. Marco deserved better.
調査兵団実行部隊のトップエルヴィン団長とリヴァイ兵長。ここはどこですか？
見ての通りだが、力ろうとだけ言っておこう。今君の身柄は憲兵団が受け持っている。
その鍵は。
No! The
君
key!
の持ち物だ。後で返すよ。君のせいか。志願しなくにあるイエーガー医師の地下室。
How does he
そこに
know?
巨人の謎がある。そうだね。
はい、おそらく
Oh,
父がそう言ってました。
お前は記憶喪失で。
Pixies might have told him.
随分都合のいい話だな。
I got hiccups.
リヴァイ。彼が嘘をつく理由はないとの結論に至ったはずだ。まだまだわからないことだらけだが、今すべきことは君の意志を問うことだと思う。
俺の意志ですか？
君の成果を調べるためには志願しなくウォールマリアの奪還が必要となる。やはり我々の命運を左右するのは巨人だ。超大型巨人も鎧の巨人もおそらくは君と同じ原理だろう。君の意志が鍵だ。この絶望から人類を救い出す鍵なんだ。
俺が駆逐してやる。この世から一匹残らず。
Is
Oi.
Aaron's
さっさと答えろ。
dad
クイズやろう。
doing like
Oh my
some
gosh,
weird
type of
vengeance for his wife by using his son as like a weapon?
調査兵団に入ってとにかく巨人をぶっ殺したいです。
悪くない。エルヴィン、こいつの責任は俺が持つ。
Oh?
上にはそう言っておけ。俺はこいつを信用したわけじゃない。こいつが裏切ったり暴れたりすればすぐに俺が殺す。上も文句は言えんはずだ。俺以外に敵役がいないからな。認めてやるよ。お前の調査兵団入団を。
It's all he ever wanted to do. He's finally achieved his dream. I wonder how Mikasa's gonna feel about that. Maybe Mikasa will join the Survey Corps as well, but like, yeah, I'm wondering if he's using his son, Eren, as like a macabre way of like getting vengeance on the Titans for killing his wife. I don't know. We're not quite sure what the motive is or why he's using his son. Like, why didn't he use himself? So there has to be something to do with like Eren's body being able to survive. Maybe because he's younger and stronger? I don't know. Like, there's just so many questions that need answering, and I can hypothesize so the cows come home and still probably won't have an answer until like series 2. I don't know, maybe more than series 2. I'm really sad about Marco. He was such a sweet character. I know like he didn't get much like screen time, but like he just didn't deserve to die that way, and he sacrificed himself for Jean. He really believed in Jean, and Jean's gonna take that so hard. That was his, you know, his closest confidant. You know, they were always like sort of together, they were always talking, and I'm so sad. I'm happy. Like, this was kind of like a bittersweet episode, you know? Like, they had their first win against the Titans, which is great, but there was just so much loss and so much death. But, you know, we lost Ian as well, and I had a soft spot for Ian. Just he was someone that Mikasa respected and looked up to and was sort of a mentor, and then he died. But, you know, like, a lot of my favourite characters are still alive, so I'm happy. I was a bit concerned about Jean because he's growing on me, but he's okay. He's alive, so I'm happy. But yes, I am so confused. So many questions still to answer. Levi is so cool. Like, such a sassy, strong character already. I'm loving him. I still think Eren's gonna go on this anti-hero trajectory. I just don't know how it's going to play out, but I just think everything's too nice and neat at the moment. I think there's going to be something where maybe he goes on a tirade against humanity, especially now that he has Titan powers, and maybe they misinterpret him going on a tirade as a Titan as something malicious, but it's not actually malicious. We then eventually learn that it was for the greater good. I don't know. We've seen how easily he can kind of lose himself to the Titan now when he attacked Mikasa. So I have a feeling that he's going to maybe go on a rampage at some point, and he's going to be isolated from humanity and maybe be cast out, or maybe sacrifices himself for the greater good of humanity. I don't know. I really don't know. Again, series 1, there's 5 seasons, I think there's 5 seasons, so still much to see, still so much to see, still so much to theorize and hypothesize. But yes. Hi my darlings, post-editing Sophie here. We are refilming the outro for episode 13. There was a lot I wanted to talk about, so I went and re-watched episode 13 so I could actually sit down and formulate my thoughts without the pressure of doing a first react. So yes, I have now watched that episode twice, so my first react and then a second watch today, and then jotted down all my thoughts as I was going through, so I could pause as much as I wanted, I could go back as much as I wanted, just because it would give me more opportunity to pick out imagery, symbolism and themes of what I'm seeing. And I did the same with episode 12, and I was very happy with the new outros. So yes, we're going to delve into a longer outro, and one of the core themes that I am seeing crop up in the show that was really, really exemplified in episode 13, and I believe is going to continuously crop up. So I'm probably going to get really, really repetitive with this core theme. But first and foremost, I want to talk about Marco, because he's not overly featured, but he has such a huge impact on Jean as a character and helps to guide him to his understanding that he's not weak in feeling fear, but that fear in fact makes him stronger in keeping him rational and grounded. So funnily enough, it was actually from having conversations on Patreon with my Patreon members about episode 16, because I am at this point have watched to episode 16. I'm not going to delve into any discussions about any further episodes than 13 because there's no point, because you haven't seen the reaction yet. Sorry. But me and Jordan were having a very interesting conversation about Jean from episode 16. I'll probably delve into more about Jean as a character in the outro of episode 16, which I will be refilming. There was something that Jordan said that really struck me. That is, he said that there was a philosopher, but he wasn't sure who, that said bravery isn't the absence of fear, but the action you take in the presence of fear. And again, Nelson Mandela has also said something similar. So Nelson Mandela has said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. And if that doesn't encapsulate who Jean is as a character, I don't know what does, because he is very realistic in his emotions. He's very down to earth. He's very aware that what he feels is justified. And I think it would be wrong to say that nobody would be afraid living in this situation. And I'll hold my hands up. I was too harsh when I was criticizing Jean. I was too harsh. I take it back. Because I would be shitting myself if I saw Titans walking around eating people. But Jean's fear isn't a weakness. It is Marco that drives home that point to Jean that his fear actually makes him stronger. It keeps him rational, it keeps him grounded, and it keeps him prioritizing the well-being of everyone around him, and actually makes him a good leader. In episode 8, we see Jean beginning to doubt whether he has the ability to lead people, and that comes from a sense of guilt of having watched his comrades die and then using the distraction that their deaths have provided to protect everybody else. And it is a horrible situation to be forced into. But again, if he had not have done that, probably more would have died. So he made the right decision in the time, even if he felt like it was cowardice, because in his mind, he should have been fighting these Titans. He should have done everything he could to protect, but they were already dead. And at the same time, his priority was not only saving himself, but saving everybody else. And he made the right call under a very high pressured situation. But he wasn't able to see that. He just felt guilty as if he had ran away. And it was Marco that actually said to him, no, what you did was correct. And if it wasn't for you, I would not have jumped off that roof. You saved more people than you realize. And it has John reconfigured the situation in his mind and accept that he did what needed to be done. Marco constantly supports and protects everyone around him, even going as far as to try and protect another comrade from being accused of treason in episode 10. He's trying to calm him down. He's trying to rationalize what's going on. He's trying to sympathize with him, but at the same time, quell those worries as best as he can. Whenever we see Marco, he is doing his best to guide and support those around him, and yet in his moment of need, there was no one there to do the same for him. This is not to state that no one would have done this for him, but it indicates that his life has a purpose and meaning, especially for Jean. Jean struggles to accept what has happened to Marco, and you see in this episode he is asking around, did anyone see how he died? Because it feels almost incomprehensible that something so tragic could happen to someone who has impacted his life to such an extent, be unwitnessed and unacknowledged by anyone but him in the aftermath. Marco's death even hits Annie, and it's the first time we see her emotional in apologizing to him for being unable to help. Marco's death is significant in that it will drive forward Jean's character progression. He will embody the words that Marco has said to him and the encouragement that he gave in ensuring Jean that he could lead and that his position is no less vital just because he fears the Titans. It's such a brutal death, especially as it's thrown upon us, but it is a phenomenal piece of story writing in that even characters like Marco, who may not be shown as much as others, can impact us on an emotional level without us being witnessed to their death. His life had meaning and purpose to us as watchers, and we feel that pain and connection with Jean as we are forced into his shoes of wondering how, why, and when did this happen? Not only does it allow us to sympathize and connect with Jean on a deeper level over his sadness regarding Marco's death, but it reiterates that even in this joyous moment of triumphing over the Titans, the sacrifices made by people like Marco to ensure such a victory cannot and will not be forgotten. Marco's memory will live on through Jean and his inevitable desire to live up to the expectations that Marco had of him. It's such a powerful legacy that Marco leaves behind for a character that was not overly shown in the show. And I just think it's beautiful that he is going to continue to have an impact even though he is gone. The biggest point I want to make in reference to episode 13 is the indomitable human spirit. And I'm sure you've seen the memes about the indomitable human spirit. They're on TikTok, they're on social media, but its origins stem from the existentialist philosophy of Kierkegaard. And he believed that to dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself entirely. What Kierkegaard means by this is that if we do not try, then we have never truly lived, and in not trying, we cease to exist altogether. That it is only by doing that which is frightening and often scary that we find ourselves living and persisting despite our disadvantages in life. In short, we should always persist and push forward no matter how difficult life may be, because if we do not try, then what is the point in living? In general, the indomitable human spirit in Kierkegaard really speaks to a deeper theme in Attack on Titan, which is the art of optimism and the power that comes from grasping the future and refusing to relinquish it to the Titans. It would be easy for humanity to have just given up, to have allowed the Titans to establish themselves as the dominant source of the food chain, but the will of humanity perseveres to the extent that they have designed ways to counteract this threat. They have built walls to ensure humanity's survival. They are constantly researching and inventing weapons to try and give humanity an edge in this battle for survival. To be optimistic in such a situation is itself an act of courage. It's a refusal to give in to despair and defeat, and to see the good that could come if we continue to persevere, to try, and to overcome. Ian's speech in episode 12, in justifying his stance on protecting Eren to the end, really drives that home. The sacrifice of the soldiers in getting them here should not go unrecognized, and in turning back, they are giving up on what could have been humanity's first win against the Titans. By staying, they are embracing not only the potentiality of death, but that their death has a larger meaning in ensuring that humanity as a whole can persevere. The indomitable human spirit kindles the flames of hope, which pushes humanity forward against the threat of defeat and death. The desire to be free means so much to these people that they are willing to sacrifice everything for it, and it carries them forward even at the risk of life itself. The world they live in is so incredibly cruel, and yet to persevere and persist is a testament to the human will to find hope and meaning in the world around us. Rico's quote in episode 12, "But as we struggle our hardest, will also show them how terrifying humans can be. I refuse to die for nothing," exemplifies the willingness to persist and persevere despite her fear and anxiety about dying. There is something innately beautiful in the human will to continue to live in the threat of danger, and this is part of what I love about the show, is how the writing encourages one to continue to push through no matter how hard life might hit you. It's also probably why I enjoy Dark Souls games, as they also have a similar message of persevering in the face of defeat, and that defeat is never without difficulty, and that defeat can be accomplished. You just have to try again. We see how willing everyone is to work together in episode 12, but also episode 13. They are doing what they can to protect one another. Jean risks his life to save Connie in episode 12 because that is his comrade, as well as Marco doing the same for Jean alongside Annie and Connie in episode 13 to give Jean a fighting chance to survive, even at the risk of their own lives in this episode. We see Mikasa save members of the elite squad along with Ian. We see Ian sacrifice himself to save a comrade even when he did not have to do so. We see the soldiers running on the ground doing everything they can to ensure that Eren succeeds in his mission, because in their eyes, dying to protect humanity is a worthy and justified cause, despite their own fear and apprehensions. To be free is worth dying and fighting for, and we see this from episode 1, where Eren refuses to live his life as cattle for the Titans, refusing to accept that his life has no greater meaning than that. It is a testament to the human spirit and will to live and be free. This is humanity working together in the face of potential defeat and refusing to back down, to just give up when everything seems stacked against them. And it's such a beautiful and poignant message that is going to come up time and time again. Eren regains his control through the help of Armin, and we see his dedication and desire to fight back, to be free, as he repeats the words, "Fight," over and over again. The repetition of these words drives home the overall feeling of humanity as a whole. They have to fight. They have to fight to survive. They have to fight their fear. They have to fight to push forward. They have to fight in order to be free. And in the end, we see humanity win their first battle against the Titans, and it's such a beautiful moment to see. They have overcome enormous obstacles to get here, and it's something that they never thought would be achievable. And yet the human indomitable spirit has prevailed. It has won the day against the Titans. And yes, we know that victories can be short-lived and that not every battle is a victory, but it is the beginning of the turning point in their fight against the Titans. I cannot begin to imagine the relief that they felt in that moment, and I think it's best exemplified in the way that Riko just collapses. We have seen that she is very well put together, and in that moment when that boulder is finally put in place, she just collapses and she is overwhelmed with emotion because it is finally their turn to win. This episode was incredibly beautiful, but also incredibly bittersweet. And out of all the episodes I've watched so far with season 1, I think this is my favorite. We not only get to see the brutality of war through Marco's death, we also don't get to witness his death, which I think is very important in terms of storytelling. And I think that is the author's way of saying that death comes for us all one way or another, whether we bear witness or not. But it's the indomitable human spirit and the unifying forces of everyone working together to make sure this succeeds, and the refusal to back down even in the face of death. But it really emphasizes that despite everything humanity faces, the Titans cannot and will not crush the indomitable human spirit, and that the desire to live and be free from their presence is all prevailing. My last and final point is about the Aberrant Titans. Arwen confirms that the Armor Titan and the Colossal are suspected to be like Eren. And I've been sitting on this theory since the basement was mentioned and since Eren was revealed to have been injected by Grisha to be able to take on the Titan form. So now seems like the perfect opportunity to actually launch into these theories, as my brain has been turning. I lean more towards my second theory than the first, but I'm going to specify both to you just in case. It will be interesting to look back and see what develops as the series goes on and how off I was or how right I was. So my first theory is that the Colossal and the Armor Titan were experimented on by Grisha, who I believe is being funded by the nobles to conduct these experiments. In episode 1, we see Grisha leaving for the Inner Circle, but there's no explanation as to why other than he's doing a checkup. I understand that Grisha is a doctor, but the idea of a checkup alongside the mention of the basement and how he will tell Eren all about what goes on when he returns leads me to believe that there is a connection between his mission to the Inner Circle and the basement. It's mentioned too close together to be mere coincidence. So my first theory is very simplistic, which is why I lean more towards my second. However, the first theory is that these Aberrant Titans were unable to fully control their abilities, so they were failed experiments, and they were cast out to hide the fact that Grisha is conducting human experiments and to protect the wider population, because they cannot control the Titan part of themselves. So their anger at the wars and humanity leads them to continuously attack it in warped revenge. I know, very simplistic and probably not correct. My second theory, I believe, is stronger than the first and is the one I lean more towards. So I still believe that Grisha is experimenting on people with funding from the nobles. However, the conversation between Pixies and Eren in episode 11 got me thinking. He mentioned how humans needed to unify and band together in the face of the threat that the Titans created. And this insinuates that prior to the Titans, humans were in a state of war and conflict against each other. We know that there has been no previous attacks to the Colossal kicking the wall down. Not only did that happen once, but twice. The Colossal also disappears in the same flash that occurs when Eren transforms. What has me thinking is, what if these Titans are actually members of the military police that are attacking the walls under the orders of the king to create fear and instability, which keeps people in line and prevents them from rising up against the Inner Circle. It stops people from becoming complacent and it keeps them banded together. It's very morbid, but not above the methods that they have already implemented, such as sending out non-soldiers to take back Wall Maria as a form of population control. The Titans cannot enter the walls without a way because they are too sturdy, and also they are not large enough to do so. The first time the Colossal and the Armored Titan work together to take down the walls. The second, it is just the Colossal. Yet what is clear is that without them, the Titans cannot get in to wreak havoc. The reason I'm leaning more into the second theory is that it is a form of population control by not only culling the lower walls, but it also acts as a motivator by encouraging the younger generation to sign up to become soldiers. They are forced to grow up quick. They witness horrible and traumatic images of people being harmed and eaten, and for many, this trauma is a motivator to never be in that situation again. We see that with Raynor, we see that with, I think, it's been hinted at with Annie, but not specified. But we also see that with Eren and, in a sense, Armin as well, because he lost his granddad to the population control, but he lost his parents to the outside world because of the Titans. So he is more than aware of the threat and the damage that they can do. It's very common in complex societies and militaristic societies for children or teenagers to feel the need to fight back against that which harms them, but due to their age, they often have little clear understanding of the implications of this decision. We see this in episode 5 and 6, when the reality of the world around them and what being a soldier means and the brutality of the Titans begins to hit home. They are utterly destroyed mentally. They really struggle to band back together. They really struggle to find the confidence and the courage to continue because it's not what they expected. Yes, this is what they have trained for, but there is a huge difference in being trained to fight the Titans and actually having to fight the Titans. And I think that reality really hits them hard after realizing that most of the squads that they have trained with, graduated with, have died. And there's nothing they can do to help. However, without young people making up the bulk of new graduates, it's likely that the numbers of soldiers would dwindle. They're not getting new recruits to bulk out the forces, especially when people begin to start leaving or retiring or unfortunately die, which we see happens a lot. Most of the deaths are Titan deaths. It's not an easy job, which is why I believe that human/Titan hybrids are already being utilized by the nobility, if only to keep themselves protected by sacrificing the youth of the lower walls by creating more recruits, but also as a means to dissuade rebellions and infighting through fear, as people are less likely to question the injustices happening within society if they have another greater enemy to focus on. You actually see this a lot in contemporary politics. Just look at any political system that is alive today, and they all have a similar goal. Politicians would rather have you focus on an enemy, whether that be an enemy due to cultural or religious differences, as it deflects you from looking internally at our own government and policies that are counter to the interests of the working class or marginalized communities, which is what I believe is happening in Attack on Titan. I believe that the nobles are trying to distract the population from the injustices that are happening within their society by turning their focus on the Titans instead, and that the Aberrant Titans are their weapons to force them to look outward rather than inward. I also have a theory that Eren is not going to be the only soldier to be a Titan human hybrid. I think it is going to become a common thing. I don't think everyone's going to undergo it. I don't know if it could be based on bloodline or mental fortitude, or I'm not sure what the qualifications are to be a human Titan hybrid. I'm sure we'll learn that as we go on. But I believe that once they find out what's going on in the basement, it is going to start being used. And I also think this is where Eren's anti-hero trajectory may come in, is that he maybe does something in his Titan form that he believes is justified in the moment to protect humanity as a whole, but people around him look at him as just another evil Titan and they don't understand why he's done it. and they can't rationalize why he's done it because it was done in Titan form, and that maybe leads to him being ostracized from wider society. But that's a longish way off because he's just joined Survey Corps, so I'm not entirely sure, but that is one of the trajectories I think will happen with the anti-hero journey, is that he does something in his Titan form that is not seen as justified by anybody else but himself, and he sees it as the only way to protect humanity, and he is cast out and rejected. And then that maybe leads to him being resentful and maybe spiteful towards humans in general. I don't know. We'll see. But if you enjoyed this deep dive into episode 13, please consider giving this video a like, a comment, and to hit the subscribe button so we'll have more deep dives like these. And liking and commenting really helps me into the algorithm to find more Attack on Titan fans that maybe enjoy these deep dives as much as I do. And until next time, bye!